Are you trying to figure out this housing market we got going on right now in 2022? Stay tuned so I can go over all the details for you. What's up, everybody? My name is Rob Schou here with EXP Realty in Southern Maryland. If you're looking to move to Southern Maryland, make sure you reach out to me. Use that contact information below. Use any way that you can to reach out to me, and I can help you make those great decisions to move when you move down here to Southern Maryland. Honestly, we love helping people get down here. So anytime, anywhere, any place, we'd be happy to help you. All right, and also you can go ahead and scroll down to that first comment. You can click on that link and I will schedule a meeting with me over Zoom to talk about your needs when moving to Southern Maryland. And last, if you haven't yet, make sure you click the like button, make sure you click the subscribe button, make sure you click that bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content about moving to Southern Maryland. All right, so like I said at the beginning of the video, today what we're going to be talking about is the housing market. Now, you have probably been in so many different situations where the current housing market has been brought up in conversation. You know, everybody's talking about it right now. Everyone's saying it's hot. Is it going to crash? Is there a bubble? Is there this? Is there that? All those ideas and all those predictions, I take with a grain of salt as a real estate agent, just because it's really tough to predict a housing market. And I think what we're seeing right now, especially with interest rates, is that I'm right. It's so tough to predict what's going to happen. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of break it down into 3 parts. I'm going to talk about the predictions that were previously made at the beginning of 2022. I'm going to talk about where we are specifically in Maryland right now with this housing market. And then I'm going to break it down to a local Southern Maryland kind of feel that I'm seeing on the ground, and not really predictions, but where I see the next few weeks going, what next few months going in Southern Maryland. All right, so get into the predictions. Early on in January 2022, and even a little bit before that, you really started seeing these headlines of, from Zillow, from MarketWatch, from, Redfin, and all these other places that this housing market was going to continue to be hot. Now, a lot of that speculation, that prediction was fueled by the extremely low interest rates that we had, in some cases around that 3.5% to 4%, and also supply and demand. What we were seeing in the housing market was that there was not a lot of supply, meaning that not a lot of people were willing to sell their homes yet. We just didn't see nearly as much supply as we did in previous years. That combined with more people looking to buy homes and more people honestly qualified to buy homes because of the lower interest rate, that led to some serious demand in almost all markets around the states. So that really is what has been pushing up these home sale prices. And these predictors said, well, yeah, while the interest rates are definitely creeping up a little bit back in December and January, we feel like the interest rates are going to stay about the same, and that's going to continue to push demand up. Now, if you have not been under a rock and you've been paying attention to mortgage rates, right now, as of this recording on April 28th, we're looking at interest rates that are 5.25%. It's up almost 2 percentage points from what it was when those predictions really came out. Now, I want to back off a little bit and say that 5.25% is still near historic lows. Like, it is still near the bottom of where we were or where we have been historically with mortgage rates. So, is it time to panic? No, it is not time to panic. Is it time that you need to really start thinking about realistically about your goals and your wants and your needs when buying a home? Yes, because mortgage rates are making it harder for people to afford homes. But that gets me to the next thing. So some of these predictions were saying that this demand was going to stay strong because of low interest rates and more people being qualified. But with higher interest rates, we're starting to see possibly that demand soften. All right, so that's kind of talking about those predictions. Let's jump into right now and let's talk a little bit about that demand I was talking about. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to click over to the screen. You're going to see me down in the little corner there, and I'm going to go over 2 different websites. And they're 2 you're probably familiar with as someone looking for homes, Redfin and Zillow. And the great thing about Redfin and Zillow is most people are really comfortable with it. Most people know how to use it. And I'm going to kind of walk you through how those 2 sites and how to use those 2 sites to gain some information about your housing market. What we're going to start with is Redfin, and we're just going to go over a Maryland housing market review. Now, if you go on here, you can go to any state you want, and you can actually get it down to different levels right over here, down to the city zip. For us, we're just going to keep it at Maryland for right now for the sake of just talking about the housing market. If you look, Maryland overall has seen a 7, almost 8% increase in the home prices. The homes sold are down actually compared to previous years. And if we even look, when we're looking and moving this over, if we look at April compared to April 21 compared to April 20, if we look at March 21, which saw 8,000 homes sold in Maryland, to March 22, which sees under 8,000 homes sold in Maryland, we're seeing a decrease in the number of homes sold. So the sales price is going up, the number of homes sold is going down, and that's really speaks to that limited supply that we have right now. That price is going up due to that limited supply. Now, kind of going through this, I'm going to click to demand. Now, demand is going to show how many people are, how competitive the market is right now. Right now, as you can see, it's still really competitive. So this is one of the highest it's been in the last 3 years of the number of homes that have sold over list price. So right now, in March 2022, I'm going to guess not right now, last month of March 22, it's still really competitive. It's still a limited amount of supply and a lot of demand. So that makes it a lot more competitive. But this is where I'm starting to see a little bit of a change in the data. If you look here, the number of homes that have price drops in March is raising. So if we look back to March of 2021, almost no homes had price drops. If we look back to March 2021, just under 20% of homes had price drops compared to right now, over 21, it's actually going to be about 22% of homes, or 21.4% of homes have had price drops. So we're seeing about a 2.1% increase year to year of number of homes that have price drops. Now, what that means is we may start seeing that these homes are being listed a little bit too high for the demand that is out there. And I really think that the reason why these price drops are happening is because the affordability of the homes are becoming less due to the higher interest rates. So that's what I'm seeing here. I'm starting to see little signs. Now, little signs don't mean big trends. So these little signs could just completely reverse themselves, especially if interest rate drops or other outside factors happens. But I'm definitely seeing some sort of sign that there's a stabilization coming. Not a crash, not a bubble burst, not that, but a stabilization where we might start seeing more or less competition per house and more of a balanced market instead of a really starving market for buyers out there. All right, so another way that we can find out more information about the current housing market, like I said, is using the Zillow research. So Zillow is nice because it gives you a lot of different data. If you're really someone that's into the data, like myself, you can actually download all the different data they use for forecasts and stuff like that right there and put it into Excel spreadsheet. It also has a great library of different visuals and things like that too, if you're someone that's into that. And then it just breaks down for buyer and seller too. So it just gives you a good idea of all the different buyer and seller stuff. And we'll give you some information here. You can see some good articles kind of what to be looking for and how to understand and how to interpret this housing market, so you can have knowledgeable conversations when you're talking to others or when you're going and talking to a loan officer or a real estate agent or trying to buy a home in this market. So that's enough of kind of that overview. Let's go ahead and get started, and let's talk about hyper local. And what I'm seeing in Southern Maryland is that we're definitely still in a seller's market. I want to be upfront and clear with that. But over the last few weeks, there have definitely been more price decreases than previous weeks. I've seen a little bit of uptick in inventory, but one of the things I'm noticing on my end, I'm seeing less people find me on Google. Now, why is that weird? Why is that something to me that seems interesting? That means there's less people searching for homes for sale on Google. I run different ads where I'm trying to get people to click on my link to be able to come to my website to find out about me. And when I get less clicks or even get less searches on those titles, it shows me the demand for homes and for people searching for homes in Southern Maryland is starting to decrease. And now working with buyers right now, I'm seeing the reason why the home demand is starting to decrease is because of those interest rates. A buyer that I'm working with right now started out with a really healthy budget of about $380, and because of those mortgage rates through the time that we've been searching for homes, their budget has dropped $40,000 down to $340. Now, luckily, we were able to find them a great home, and we're under contract as of this recording right now. But this market and these rates do have a real impact, and I think demand is going to start going down with that. And so just to kind of back that up, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you could search hyperlocal and how I kind of gather some of my data from Redfin and from other areas from other sources throughout, my real estate kind of deck of cards. So I'm going to pick just a few areas, some of the more popular areas here in Southern Maryland. One of them, of course, is Waldorf. It's one of our biggest city areas or population centers. So looking at Waldorf, it's really great because it goes through the whole housing trend. You can see Waldorf home prices year over year are almost 20% more. Median days on market, it's actually one more than last year, which is interesting. But the number of homes sold is actually down. And the reason for this is there's been less homes listed. So this is really great to kind of see, and you can get a really good overview of what the market is. So Redfin is saying that the housing market in Waldorf is very competitive. This is their sale to list price. 54% of homes sold above list price was actually greater than the national average. And this is lower than the national average right here. So we have 19% of homes sold after a price drop, compared to the national average was about 22% when we looked. But if you look right here, look at this little data right here, this little nugget. That's a 6-point increase from last year at this time. Okay, so it's interesting to see that price drops are increasing right now compared to last year. And I think that is speaking to that stabilization. We'll pull up one more just so everyone can kind of see it again. Another one, we'll go into St. Mary's County. So another one that might be interesting for you. If you're looking at St. Mary's, a lot of people look to move to California, Maryland, because it's close to the Patuxent River Naval Air Station. And that brought up the wrong one. So we're going to go back here. All right, so what a lot of people look for in Southern Maryland is California, Maryland. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and that will take us to our market. This is a little bit different market here. We're going to see that the average home price, again, similar to Waldorf, similar to those national averages, we're seeing it's increasing year over year, which isn't a surprise. We're also seeing here, though, that the homes, there's actually been more homes sold. And this is an interesting stat. We're seeing a longer average days on market compared to this time last year. And we're going to scroll down here. We're seeing that it's somewhat competitive, and we're also seeing this. So here we go right here. We're seeing a less competitive market. Most homes are selling right about at their list price. Only 31% of homes sold over their list price. And if you look here, 16% of homes had a price drop, and that's a 2 percentage point increase over last year. So again, I think we're seeing that stabilization that I talked about earlier in the video, which isn't a bad thing. It's still a great market for sellers. It's going to be a more competitive market for buyers, where they're going to be able to be in situations that maybe it's not 4, 5, 6 offers on the table, and they have to waive inspections or do things that, make them feel uncomfortable. We should start seeing a balanced market, is what I'm seeing these numbers. Now, like I said before, it can all change. Interest rates can drop and the demand could skyrocket for homes, and we could see these prices continue to rocket up, or other things could happen too that could definitely influence the housing market. But right now, current situation, I'm starting to see a little bit of a balancing, a little bit of a stabilization. All right, so I know this was a lot. I know there were a lot of words, a lot of data, a lot of all that kind of stuff, but hopefully it was helpful to kind of pull back the curtain and let you see what the housing market looks like nationally, Maryland and Southern Maryland, and gives you a little more confidence to have those conversations when you're going in and meeting with realtors, when you're going in and talking to lending partners, or maybe just when you're going and talking to friends, that you have an informed discussion instead of an uninformed discussion that leads to misunderstanding and misconceptions. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions or need any help, make sure you use that contact information below. Reach out to me and I'll be happy to talk to you about the housing market, or go and look at some of these houses and really help you find the best place for you. Also, if you want, you can go down and scroll down to the first comment, click on the link, and you can schedule a Zoom meeting with me through that link, and we can talk about your home buying needs. And lastly, if you haven't yet, make sure you click that like button, click the subscribe button, and click the bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content about moving to Southern Maryland. See you on the next video.